Well, the fact is, you're just not going to believe it, because that is just, well, it's that and it's that, but is it a camera? No. Is it a radio? No. Is it a TF player? No. Well, what is it then? You're going to have to find out. Well, hello there. This is a little bit of a story. I saw a video the other day by Westlife, and it was all about alarm clocks and radio alarm clocks, to be exact. And it was rather a nice one he had there, and he was saying they don't make them like that anymore. Yeah, and he was right. They were good quality sound, they had good reception, and they were quite expensive to buy. But when you bought one, it was an investment, and Sony made them, all sorts of people made them, but the one he had was a GM one, I believe. Very good. Anyway, that got me to thinking, because I found myself in the situation where I needed to get myself a clock, preferably an alarm clock, and preferably a radio alarm clock, because I was away from home and I needed to be able to wake up. And whilst the phone does it, you've got to be so careful with phones. They go flat overnight if you don't plug them in properly. They go onto mute, and it's all sorts of problems like that. So overall, it's not a very easy thing to do. So what I've got here is a device that I found, and I think you'll be amazed by it. I'll give you all the details. Stay with me, because it's a good one. What I've got here is an alarm clock. You may say, well, is it? Or is it? Or is it a Bluetooth speaker? It has to be in Greek. But I'll tell you what it is. It's an SP145, and it's made by a company called, and it's made in China by a company called Shenzhen Ground Enterprise Limited from Shenzhen, Shandong, China. Yeah, it's made in China by a reputable company. We'll have a look at it properly. Looking at the box, as you can see there, it says, what does it say? It says TF card, Bluetooth, TF, AUX and FM. See, look, it says it all there. Right? And on the other end it says, includes istruzioni, or includes instructions. And it's got the lot and all the certificates, all the certifications there, so that's all good. There, it actually tells you in English that it's a, what's it say? It says it's 2-in-1, and it says it in Greek, but then it says Bluetooth speaker with alarm clock. So how much do you reckon that's going to cost? Because it does everything. It does Bluetooth, which I know it does. It does TF cards, or SD cards if you like. It does auxiliary input, and it does FM. And yeah, and it also, there's a hidden feature. Let me just put that over there. There's a hidden feature, which is that it does the nice readout of the temperature. A little bit of a problem for American viewers, it's in Celsius, but if you learn that 20 degrees Celsius is 70 degrees Fahrenheit, then all the rest sort of falls into place. Did you know? The reason that the temperatures and the sizes and things are called the imperial system is because they originated from the imperial British Empire, and that up until basically the middle 60s, the UK had all the imperial measurements, and we still do. They actually went to war basically as a bureaucratic war against EU regulations about things like using the metric system. So yeah, we took on the metric system, but we didn't actually really adopt it. So somebody like me, I measure things. Here's a Google TV remote, and I look at that and I think, okay, what size is that? Well, it's about, using a rule of thumb, it's about an inch, just over an inch wide, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4 inches long, and it's about a centimetre thick. That's what being fully conversant is. I buy petrol in litres, but my car does miles per gallon. We drive miles down the road, which is why we do miles per gallon, and we use yards. But we buy cloth to make stuff in meters. Normally, if I'm measuring something, I will use centimetres. But if I'm using my thumb, so I'm fully conversant. 2.5 centimetres, roughly, is an inch. It's simple. Once you know what you're doing, you just get on with it. Anyway, that's an aside. Back to the alarm clock. It's actually...
Bluetooth mode.
Did you hear that? Bluetooth mode. Here it is. I'll turn it off.
Power off.
That's it. Right, okay. This is... just to disappoint you. So there's the bottom, and there's the top, and there's the back, which you can see the speaker. And now for my American friends, it's about a 1.5 inch speaker, or about, what's that, 30 millimeters. You can see it on there. Use my thumb, so it's just over an inch. Oops, ouch, ow, 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 bash me arm, never mind. Right, and you also see on there, that is a microphone. That is your USB input for charging. It doesn't do anything else. There's your TF input, and there's your line input. Now let's get onto the front. It's a nice mirrored finish. It's a fingerprint magnet, of course. Let's do a bit of that. Let's clean it up a little bit. There we go. Because otherwise all you're going to see is reflection of the ring light, which is all you're going to see anyway. Right, okay, so you can't see anything else there now. But bearing in mind how bright that ring light is, as you can see, look at this. I'm going to switch it on.
Bluetooth mode.
Bluetooth mode. Doesn't she have a lovely voice? And then I'm going to switch it to
Clock mode.
clock mode,
FM mode.
FM mode. Now that's not going to work at the moment,
Bluetooth mode.
and I'll tell you for why. I haven't got a USB lead plugged into it. So I will correct that. I will plug a USB lead into it because that is used as the antenna, as certain people say, or as me as an old Brit would say, aerial. You need to have an FM aerial for your FM mode. Right, let's put it back into FM mode. So this is in Bluetooth mode,
Clock mode.
clock mode,
FM mode.
FM mode.
Χαμάς και Ισραήλ συνεχίζουν να διαφωνούν.
Που μεταγενέστερα το
Η μπύρα και όπα.
δεν σου είπα μα πρόσι ποιος είναι που πληγώσει Εκμουσιούμ και kendim δεν φαντάζεσαι πόσο σου δώσα
Ζωντανά.
Το ίδιο και τις ηλικιωμένες γυναίκες.
And it just keeps going.
my court just beg you savior.
Turn it down. Right, that's that. But it's also an alarm clock. I'll show you that now. What you do. Now this is one of the things. See, it says on there, look, you can see there, that's got the alarm symbol. And that means if I press button number 1, you'll see that it's set for 10:31. Now this is actually, it works, it doesn't give you a choice, it just works in 24-hour clock. But that's okay, because fully conversant with that, I drove a bus for a lot of years. And if you've ever used European timetables, you'd know that the 24-hour clock is quite useful. And now, if I push this one, you'll see it says 10:30, and a little light lit up there, but it should go out again. There we go. That means that that's set for 10:30, but it's not actually going to ring. When you set it, you have a choice of rings. Listen. So you have this one. Let me just set it So you have that alarm. Or that alarm. I'd go with that one. Sorry for the flare, but it's one of these things I've got the ring light on, but everything flares. Okay, so that's it. Let me just turn the light down. Done. Right, turn the light off. So there's the LEDs in that setting, and they are brighter. I will attest to the fact they are very bright. Good feature with this, if you want it in clock mode, which is what it is in now, that's fine, and you can have it like that, which is the way I normally use it. But if you turn it off, the alarm still rings at the time it was set for. Now that's useful because it means you don't have to have the lights and everything there, but it does mean that you can have it as an alarm clock even though you're not going to actually be looking at it, which is good. You may also notice, as I say, it's got the temperature, 25 degrees C, right, which is pleasantly warm. 24 is uncomfortably warm. 22 is about 70, double in add 30. That's the, oh, did you know, if you want to get Fahrenheit from centigrade, you double the centigrade number, so 20 becomes 40, and then you add 30. So 40, 50, 60, 70, see? So if you've got 22, double it, it's 44, add 40, 74. It's easy. And it works, close enough anyway. Yeah, this is one of the things that I always used to have to do, because having grown up in the 60s in the UK with Fahrenheit, when they started doing centigrade, it was all rather confusing. So we would be, because we would know that 70 to 75 was pleasant, and then more than that was unpleasant, and so we learned how to convert. It isn't rocket science. It's actually maths. Well, I suppose that is rocket science. But anyway, there we go. That's the way that goes. I thought I'd show you this because it's useful. It's got a full set of instructions which I'll bring up for you. I will point out there is one anomaly with it, and this is it says there, you see, the alarm number 1 is set. Well, that's this button here, and it says in the instructions that you can set the alarm by just pressing it and whatever, but it doesn't work. You can set it by just pressing it, and I'll set the other one to come on. Look, if I do it now, right, and press and hold, right, so now we've got 2 of them up, right, which is good. But how do we get rid of one? Because you only want this, unless you want to have it set apart. This is a very simple featured alarm clock. It only has 2 alarms that you set. It doesn't have snooze, doesn't have sleep, it just does that. But it does give you the ability to play your phone through it, and or external input via the line in. Anyway, what you have to do, according to them, is just press quickly, and that'll happen. But then what happens is this comes back. This is an error in the instruction book. What you have to actually do is you have to press it quickly. Then it's gone. But it doesn't tell you that in the instructions, because the instructions are written in sort of, well, I wouldn't say broken English, but they're certainly written in English that's not quite right. So if I do it again on the other one, gone. It took me weeks to find that out, literally weeks, because I bought this 4 or 5 weeks ago, and I found out last week, which is why I'm doing a video on it now, because it's a lovely little device. Do you know how much this cost? How much do you think? Because an alarm clock radio, I was looking around, alarm clock radios over where I was staying, you could pay between, well, if you found a cheap one, if you found a cheap alarm clock radio, you'd be paying something in the region of about £20, which would be about $22. If you had a what you might call a reasonable price one, you'd be looking at between £30 and £40. That's about $35, $45. We're talking pre-tariffs or anything. So this is the price over in the UK. That, which I got from the Jumbo store, but there is things. That's why it says IJMB. But there are other brands that are available selling it, because it's listed. Something very similar is listed on AliExpress, and it's a little bit more money than that one, but it's a case of buying it in quantity. If you can get that one's great. That one cost me about £8.75 from that store. It was I bought it in Jumbo, which is available in Cyprus, Greece, and Romania, I think it is, or one of the Eastern European countries. And it was €9.99, which is about £8.50, which is pretty good, really. I reckon it's worth an awful lot more than that. When you can compare it to something like that, which is 35, 40 quid, which is good, that is excellent sound quality. But there is huge latency on that. On Bluetooth on this, you can actually watch a video on your computer on this Bluetooth, and it's okay. If you're trying to do editing, which is what I was doing, you need to use the plug-in lead and go from your audio. Now what I've got is I've got the Behringer UCA 222, and I've got headphone feed out from there, and I've then got the line output feed from there into the back of this. And that gives me the freedom to not have to worry about turning
Line in.
Line in. She's got a lovely accent. And there we go. And now I can play anything I want from my computer on there. And just to prove it, so this is now going to play. Hello and welcome. You've joined me today with a ghost voice, phantom voices, and things you didn't know you couldn't hear. Nice piece of kit. Only $9.99 in the Jumbo European stores. And on AliExpress, you can see it's about twice the price of the Jumbo store. But nevertheless, at $19.35, I'd still say it's worth it. That's got a couple of other features that this one didn't have. So now we'll take a quick walk through the instruction manual. It's got quite high specifications. Look here, we've got Bluetooth version 5, output power 5 watts, battery 3.7 volts, 1200 milliamps, playtime 2 to 4 hours, charging time 1 to 2 hours, functions Bluetooth, aux, TF, FM, dimensions of that, USB micro input, don't know why it says that, that's for charging only, material ABS, and it says included speaker, which is useful, micro USB, and the instructions. Here we have a list of what all the buttons and the sockets do, and this has got the first line of how to adjust the clocks. This is for setting the alarm function, and it's very important. You can always freeze frame on this. The rest of the instructions follow, and you can freeze frame on these as well. They're fairly simple, and take them with a pinch of salt, and it's fairly obvious really, except for that doing of the alarm. Good, yeah. And if you're not doing that, then it's great. I actually, using it on the computer, I plug in that into the USB lead, into the socket, and it sits there all day. It keeps me happy. And the nice thing about having it as the computer speaker, because you may know the reason I originally got involved in the UCA 222s was because I've got a fault on this laptop. It's a stock fault, but there's nothing I can do about it. I've got the laptop second hand, and it crackles. It's distorted. It's horrible. So in this occasion, I'm using the UCA 222 to feed this, and it gives me full editorial control. Plus, I've got a handy clock display. And when I finish at night, I unplug it and listen to the lovely voice.
Bluetooth mode.
She puts it into Bluetooth mode. Bing bong. Now I'm connected to the computer again, but that's fine. And I take it up to bed with me and use it as an alarm clock. So when you unplug it like that, put it into clock mode, because if you leave it in Bluetooth mode and go to bed, half an hour after you've gone up there, it will go Bluetooth mode off or something, and then it really makes you jump. well worth, just make sure you put it into a proper mode. I think it's worth its weight in gold, and I think Westlife was absolutely right. They don't make alarm clocks like they used to. This one's not expensive, doesn't do exactly what the old ones used to, but given the choices of what we've got, $9.99 for that, or $27 to $35 for one that just plays the radio and gives you sleep mode. Doesn't do the rest of the stuff, doesn't give you line in, doesn't give you TF playback. I think that's an absolute bargain. Right, I've got a list of pros and cons for you here, and basically the price was $9.99. The display is very bright, which means you don't need to worry about being able to find your way around the room in the middle of the night with no lights on, because you don't need them. The battery life is approximately 36 hours in clock mode. The radio reception is excellent, as you saw, if you plug in the lead. I didn't know there were that many channels in this area. You cannot switch on music from any source, so you have to actually you have to manually put music on. You have to turn it into FM mode. You have to do it, but if it's on FM mode, it will alarm whilst you're in it, I think. And the sound quality, well, I think it's quite good. It's nothing compared to the Soundcore, but it's better than a phone, much better than a phone. Whilst the sound quality, I wouldn't call it hi-fi, it's much better than a phone, and at the end of the day, it's pleasant. You can sit there and have it on all day and actually enjoy the sound, whereas if you had a phone on, you would not be enjoying the sound, it would be sounding pretty awful. And by the end of the day, you'd really know it. So from that point of view, it's great. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, maybe you'd like to subscribe and click a like or whatever. And I'll try and catch you another time. Let me know in the comments if there's anything you'd like to know, or if you've got any queries on this or anything else. If there's any questions you'd like answered, or if there's any equipment you like, make it a two-way conversation. That's what this channel's all about. I want to keep it simple. I want to keep it for you. So, thank you very much. Catch you another time.